Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Art of Film. I'm your host, Andres Salazar, filmmaker, writer, director, and today's feature film is M.A.S.H. by Robert Altman, 1970. This is Robert's first film. Puts him on the map, critically acclaimed, made a lot of money, as you know, TV show for many, many years afterwards because of the success of this particular film. And I've never seen this film, never seen M.A.S.H., but I like Robert Altman's films, particularly The Player. I really liked, so I wanted to see this. I'm like, okay, let's just pop this in. Always wanted to watch it. I have some conflicting views on this film. This one is a little tricky for me. Let's just give the stats here first. This is has Donald Sutherland in it, Elliot Gould, huge cast. Bobby Duvall's in this. Just tons of people are in this film. It is a black comedy. It is a comedy right off the gate. We get this comedic moment. It is a farce set in the Korean War, filmed during the Vietnam War. You know, so this is some commentary perhaps on the war. You know, log line would be two unprincipled, loose cannon doctors come into the M.A.S.H. unit and raise hijinks for the 6 months that they're there, right? And it does have this kind of National Lampoon kind of flavor to it. It's written with this kind of National Lampoon Animal House kind of vibe. I'm not into modern sensibilities necessarily. I'm not one to note what is acceptable and what is not. I really enjoy watching film. I really enjoy watching film for that time and thinking about that time and what was acceptable, and I just like film, right? So that said, even this film, there were moments when I felt like, man, this is modern sensibilities. People just, if you put this film out there right now, if this was on HBO and everyone's like, oh, let's go watch this week on HBO or Netflix, people would have a hard time with it. And I'm fine with that. I'm like, okay, I have a hard time with it. That's fine. But even I had a hard time with the car. I was like, man, I don't know. And I think part of it is that the main characters are just not likable. Donald's Hawkeye and Duke and Trapper, these three doctors, they are kind of assholes. They're kind of jerks. They have these moments of kind of like caring for people, and we do see that they have a heart, but they're also kind of jerks. If you don't fit in their view, it's more than just razzing you, or hazing. They do some diabolical things. Like a guy goes basically in some sort of an insane asylum. He's got like a straitjacket. Bobby Duvall's character gets carted off because he lost it because of their kind of this really mean-spirited hazing. There's the character of Hot Lips, which is constantly being kind of ridiculed and kind of torn down. What I found really interesting in this film was the gender role dynamic, because usually in films, war films, Vietnam War, things like that, in this era, it's usually just guys. It's men and men, and you don't have the intergender dynamics, right? The only intergender dynamics would be like the hookers, in Saigon or something. There's no real like thing going on there. But with this unit, because it's like a medical unit and because there's male and females, doctors and nurses together, you have a lot of that interplay. But what this turns into really being is just kind of sophomoric hijinks, sexually, uh, toned bits. They're just bits, really, right? For comedic bits, usually at the woman's expense, which, again, I'm not saying like, oh, this is horrible. I just felt like it was not that funny or just kind of mean spirited. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah. Now I haven't seen Animal House. Maybe if I were to watch Animal House right now or National Lampoon's Vacation, I'd be like, oh man, this is bad. And I want to say that this does have some good things to it. I do like the cast. I do like the dialogue. I do like some of those things. But because the protagonists are just not that cool, man, it made it more difficult. I mean, there's some absurdist moments too. You have this dentist who wants to kill himself. So they do this whole like scenario. They even do like the Last Supper shot, right? By Da Vinci's Last Supper, and they do this whole farce of him taking the suicide pill, and then Hawkeye gets his girlfriend to sleep with him to prove that he's not gay. There's just these things that's like, it's okay, I get it, but it's a lot of work. It was like 15 minutes of the film setting up this joke, this gag, and I just felt like it kind of fell flat. So I don't mind if it's not politically correct, if it's funny. At the end of the day, that's what counts. Did it work? And I felt like some of those big setups just didn't work, laugh-wise, comedic-wise. And Hot Lips, she was they just blasted on her all the time, and you just felt like, man, this kind of sucked. And then the one thing, then they had a character called Spear Chucker Jones. Black man, football player, Spear Chucker Jones. Who's the Spear Chucker? Jones is. I mean, that was like the jokes. It was like, and Spear Chucker is a derogatory statement for black, okay? We know this, okay? But that was a little, it just wasn't funny. I mean, even if you thought the term Spirit Checker was funny, I don't know. Again, yeah, that one was the one I was like, whoa, Spirit Checker. I grew up in the South in the 80s, unfortunately, so I've heard them all. Yeah, Spirit Checker Jones had me kind of tripping on that one. The big issue I have really with this film is the third act. This third act, this whole idea of let's have a football team and let's have our team compete against this other unit, and it just felt like so out of place. Like, where in the hell is the Suddenly this is a football comedy. Like, literally, the whole third act is about the football team, creating a football team, and the Spear Chucker Jones is their ringer and all this. And I just felt like it came out from left field, no pun intended, and it wasn't funny. And it was like, oh, it's not a war comedy. It's now just like a weird screwball comedy. And it's a comedy with football. Look, I like Remember the Titans. I like 30 by 30 documentaries and all that stuff. But I wanted a war comedy, or it just felt like it was weird, and they were in like the straight up uniforms and gear and everything. See, it wasn't even like it's like Bridge on the River Kwai, dirt, and they're just having to play football. No, it was like a manicured lawn with high school uniforms, and everything's like pristine, And I was just like, what? This, who set it? This is suddenly they're in like Pasadena High shooting this film, and that was weird. That was just like, what? That was the probably the worst part of it, was just this like third act of high school. Excuse me, the football. So yeah, man, this was huge for him. This again, this made so much money. Critically, everyone loved it. In the 1970s, maybe that was part of it. It was just the time. It was like, you know what, Vietnam sucks, and we hate this, and so we're gonna send up this whole concept of war. But they didn't even. I don't even feel like they send it up. They didn't even like do that well. They didn't even really. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that. So, them's my thoughts on M.A.S.H. by Robert Altman. What do you think? You tell me. Comment below. Tell me, did you like the film? Was it a good film? What is the Robert Altman film to watch? I would say The Player, but what else? What else is he great at? What did he do? Gosford Park. Ensemble, lots of dialogue, witty stuff. That's what I think of Robert Altman, and I like that idea, that concept, that thing. Didn't feel like this one hit me. I do like the performances. I do think everyone's performances were great. The actors were great. The cast was great. And the directing was good too. The camera was great. Some beautiful helicopter shots. The set was wonderful. All that was good. I guess it really just comes down to the script. And I just wasn't feeling that. There you go. That's my take. Thank you for watching, spending your evening with me. And subscribe. I got a lot more stuff coming on, mostly comics, but every now and then I'll do an art of film. Thank you very much. Have a great one. Bye, guys.